Alright everyone, so today I'm going to show you how I brush Kismet. And this is something that's really simple, but it's very important. He has never had a mat in 2 years because I brush him every couple days at least. No, we're not laying down. So the first thing I'm going to do is take off his collar, obviously. So I got to brush in here where his hair has been, where his collar's been. And I just use 2 tools. I have a slicker brush, and it's actually flexible. It's got soft teeth. And then I just have a greyhound comb, that's what it's called. And so what I'm going to do first is use a slicker brush. And I'm just going to go over his entire body with the slicker brush. And I just do a quick little brush over. And I'm only going to do half of his body for this video, just so you don't have to watch me do the whole thing, because it's a little bit boring. But I just run over his legs with the slicker brush. I always get the back of his legs right here gets really knotted easily. I think it's because he lays down on it. So we just run the slicker over his body, make sure and get top of his back, and then we go for his legs, make sure and get his belly. The slicker I just run, make sure and get his neck, under his ears. And something that people often forget is armpits. You want to make sure to brush the armpits because armpits mat very easily. We often as groomers have to shave out armpits because they are matted and it's not very pleasant, and your dog has a hole in its armpit. Well, not like an actual hole, but no hair. So you brush the legs. You can run slicker over the ear. You don't have to because his are really short. But, so yeah, just run the slicker over his entire body, minus his mane, because I do that last. We'll do his tail real quick. Forgive my messy bedroom. Okay. So once I've run the slicker over his entire body, then we're just gonna take the greyhound comb. You can use either the wide end or the narrow end. I like to use the narrow end, but it doesn't really matter. And then you're just gonna take the comb through, and you want to get all the way down to the skin. He's only about 1 inch long right now, so it's really easy to get down to the skin. But I'll show you in a second on his mane how I have to get down to the skin. But this part's really important because a lot of people just do the slicker brush and then they're like, oh, my dog is brushed. But if you don't use a comb and get to the skin, that's where matting happens, is at the skin. So you want to brush all the way through, well, comb all the way through. And you go all the way on both legs. Like I said, back here behind his legs gets kind of knotted more easily, and on his elbows back here. You're going to get in the middle, in between the legs. Something people feel awkward doing, but you want to make sure and get that area in there too. I'm comfortable in that area because I'm a groomer. I do it all the time. But you want to make sure you get everything. Yes, you might have to hold some stuff out of the way. Not going to hurt your dog. If you don't feel awkward, your dog won't feel awkward. But just got to brush everything, comb everything. Kiz likes to droop his head down. Usually, so when he was a puppy, I started brushing him every night when he was sleepy. And so that's how he got better at it, is that I would just do this when he was sleepy at night. And so that's why he kind of droops his head, because it's kind of like a relaxing thing for him. Okay, stop. So once you get all the way through the legs, and again the elbows get really thick on him, and so I have to kind of get through his elbows. And again, you want to get the armpits. You don't want to like yank your dog's leg away from their body. You want to keep the elbow close to the dog's body so that you're not like pulling out and hurting their shoulder. So you keep the elbow close to the body and you kind of hold the leg like a horse leg and kind of lift it up. And that's how you're going to brush the armpit. You do the same thing if you're doing dog nails. You'll hold the foot like this to do their nails. So now you can see poodles do shed. I just brushed out half his body and I got this. This is not a lot, but this is shed hair. Poodles do shed. So there's that. So now, after I've done his body, he has learned that he just lays with his head in my lap. And then we do his mane. So with his mane, again, I go through with the slicker brush, and I just sometimes have to move his head around because he's kind of lazy about this part. But I go through with the slicker brush, and I go both directions with the slicker on his mane because his mane is longer. Kind of go any direction you want, really. But I'm not pressing very hard with the slicker. I'm only getting the very top layer. And again, you can see some hair in here. A trick for getting hair out of the slicker brush is you can just take your comb and run it through the slicker, and then you get the hair out of it. So that's a trick, just a fun little trick you can do for any kind of dog. Okay, so once I've got the slicker through, we're going to do what's called line brushing on his mane. So I start at the very front and just kind of go through because the front is shorter so that you can see. And then I'm going to go back, and if you can see, I'm kind of parting his hair. So he's got a part right here, and I'm going all the way to the skin with the comb and going in this direction, and then from that same spot I'm going to go in the other direction to the skin. And I'm going to do that all over his mane. So then I'm going to take another section, just go through to the skin, and then go through in the other direction, that one little spot. So you have to do that all over your dog's body. If your dog is longer, all over their body, you have to do this line brushing all over their body, because that's how you're going to prevent mats, is combing to the skin like that. And you can see I did this yesterday. I combed through him yesterday, and he's already got some little tangles. So this is why I try to do it every day. Sometimes I miss a couple days, and then it's a lot harder to do when I miss a couple days. But you just want to comb all the way through the entire mane or top knot or whatever your part of your dog is long. And I'm not hurting him right now, he's just got a lot of skin back here, so I'm just pulling the skin tight so that the hair, so that when I pull it, it doesn't just like, you know, you have to kind of pull the skin tight so you can comb all the way through it. And so I'm not going to show you the line brushing all the way through, but right here where his collar sits is really where you want to brush a lot. If your dog wears a collar or a harness, you especially want to take that off every day and brush there. When you have like a toodle, if you have a poodle or a doodle or something like that that has hair like this that's going to mat, you want to make sure you take off the collar or the harness or whatever the dog wears and brush that part a lot, because that is the part that's going to mat most easily, because it will be rubbing on the skin and on the hair and whatever else just kind of rubs. Okay, so once I can get through to the skin, again, I'm not being very thorough at this time, but once you can get through to the skin all over, you should be able to comb through like butter with the comb. You should be able to go all the way to the skin, and it should go through like butter. And you should be able to do that all over your dog wherever it's long. And again, this is just from his mane, and I did this yesterday. So poodles do shed. It's just when they're brushing them that they shed, and that's why if you don't brush them, they mat, because that hair gets stuck. So you can see his body is just, I can just go through it like butter basically, and that's what you want all over your dog, and you want to be able to go in both directions. And then, guess he's going to be lazy butt, so I'll come down here. See, this right here is a foxtail, and these suck because these things, these little suckers, can like dig through skin, and they suck. That's why I have to keep him short in the summer, because of foxtails. But yeah, so now we're gonna do his tail. He's gonna be a lazy butt and not stand up, but that's okay. So again, we're just gonna go from the base of the tail where his butt is, and we're gonna work towards the tip, and I'm just brushing through with the comb, and then I'm gonna go from the root. So I'm gonna go from the root outward, and you can see his tail's growing out horribly. I'm gonna give him a haircut, and he's gonna have a short tail again. We're gonna do that in a couple weeks. But so yeah, you wanna go from the root all the way out to the tips on the tail. And right now his tail does not brush very well because it is damaged. The hair is damaged because I lightened it and then dyed it, and lightening it kind of damaged the hair. So his tail is not as soft as it usually is. It's not as easy to brush as it usually is when it's long. But like I said, I'm going to be grooming him in a couple weeks, and as you can see, the roots are grown out quite a bit, so we're going to cut it to where there's no more blue left, and I'm hoping to do like a spiral of hair around his tail to kind of groom it look like a spiral. But anyway, brushing. So you're going to brush from the root, and you're going to do that all over the tail, and, you know, make sure you get the underside, wherever else. You know, you should be able to do this on your dog. You know, he's clearly very comfortable with brushing because we've been doing this since he was a puppy. He's not a huge fan of it, but it is something that he's relaxed doing because we've been doing it since he was little, and I would do it when he was relaxed, when he was sleepy, when he was a puppy, so now it kind of makes him sleepy. But yeah, so that's how I brush Kismet.